So one of the amazing things about the internet is that you can see what's happening super quickly. Like you can see what's happening on the other side of the world in real time. And people love this. However, a lot of people also realize that some of that information can be misleading and it can be hard to tell the difference. And the classic way of dealing with this problem is with traditional fact checking. This has a bunch of challenges. First, it's slow. Second, it doesn't scale very well. And third, and probably most important, a lot of people just don't trust or want tech companies or media companies to be deciding what is or is not accurate. And so the question is then, how do you actually solve this problem? And this is what led us at X to build this thing called Community Notes. It is designed to be an internet scale solution to an internet scale problem. It works at internet speed. And probably most importantly, it is found trustworthy and helpful by people from across the political spectrum, so that when they see a note, they actually come away better informed, which is the goal. And now it can be easy to feel really pessimistic about the world, like everyone is so divided, no one can agree on anything. But the reality is actually that most people just want to know what's going on in the world. And they're happy to cross partisan boundaries and even agree with the other side in order to figure that out. And that is why Community Notes works. So I wanted to show you guys an example today of how that plays out in the real world on a controversial topic like elections. So here is a post that went live shortly before the last US presidential election. Someone was claiming that one of the candidates hadn't been involved in a hit and run, and they cited a news site called KBSF News. Now, this is like the kind of thing that would normally go viral on the internet. But instead of going viral, here's what happened. Within about an hour, it's like super quickly, a top Community Notes contributor saw the story, looked into it, realized that KBSF TV had just registered their domain name 2 weeks before, didn't have an FCC license, and didn't seem real. So they wrote a note explaining this. Then, just tens of minutes later, people had rated this note as helpful, and it was attached and showing on that post. And not only that, but Community Notes automatically started showing that note on all posts that contained matching images, showing the same story. So it was almost instantly showing on 140 plus posts, and it got 1 million views. Now, on top of that, Community Notes knows that some people might have seen this post before the note appeared. So it sends all of them a notification as well, letting them know about the note so they can stay informed too. And people love these notifications. And while all this is happening, people are not just better informed, they're also choosing to share this content less. So independent studies have shown that people are 50 to 61% less likely to reshare a post when it has a community note. So virality of these posts quickly goes to zero. And this is happening entirely organically. There's no downranking in the system. People are seeing the note, they're realizing this might be wrong, and they're choosing to share it less, which is incredible. And so this is all happening in like a small number of hours. Now, imagine we instead were dependent on the traditional fact-checking approach. What might have happened? Well, the first traditional fact check went live 5 hours later, and it basically just cited the community note, possibly having just read the community note. 2 days later, PolitiFact post their fact check, and then coming in hot, 3 days later, CBS News post their fact check. And think about that, like 2 and 3 days. This is like infinity in internet time. Like everything's already happened by then. And this is not an anomaly. This happens all the time, where Community Notes is just blowing the traditional approaches out of the water in terms of speed and coverage. To give you a few examples, Community Notes regularly covers deepfake audio from world leaders, fake magazine covers of politicians, out of context imagery from wars and conflicts. The White House has retracted a tweet after receiving a note on it and issued an updated statement. Elon receives community notes. And community notes regularly cover everything from soccer, tennis, TV, and business misinformation as well. So there's massive coverage across tons of topics. And in order to help people trust the service, we make all of the data and code open source and available so people can study and audit it. And researchers do. And what they have found is remarkable. Notes have a huge effect. So one study showed that notes are found significantly more trustworthy than traditional misinformation flags by both sides of the political spectrum. That's incredible in this space. And also that they're more effective at helping people identify misleading information than traditional misinformation flags. Another study showed that people are 80% more likely to delete posts when they receive a note. And a study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that notes are highly accurate, 97.5%. These results are amazing. So why does it work so well? The reason it works is the underlying mechanism where we only show notes on a post if the note is found helpful by people who normally disagree with each other. Now, we normally don't go into this level of detail, but I wanted to share how this works under the hood. So on this graph, you can see a bunch of dots. Each dot is a note. And higher means the note scores higher, it's more helpful. You can think of the x-axis as showing sort of the point of view of the note. And you can see these dots in the yellow circles. These are polarizing notes. These are notes that basically were only found helpful by one side. And so they sort of get these middling scores. At the bottom, in the red circle, these are notes that basically everyone thinks stink. And if you write one of these, you end up losing your ability to write notes. And up at the top in the green, these are notes that are found helpful by people from different perspectives. And those are the ones that we show. And that's why notes tend to be so helpful, neutral, informative. There are other mechanisms in place that help with this as well. For example, to be a contributor, you have to meet criteria that make it less likely that you are a bot, more likely that you are a human. People also have to earn the ability to write notes, and they can lose it if they write stuff that people don't find helpful. And the service is new. We are constantly improving it. We know, for example, that people want notes quickly. We know that matters on the internet. So we recently overhauled the infrastructure for scoring these things. It is now possible for notes to go fast as live as go live as fast as 20 minutes after a post goes live, which is insane. Like if you think about what has to happen for that to be true, someone has to see a post, they have to read it, think about it, realize something might be wrong. They have to go check sources, write a note, cite those sources, post a note, other people have to review and rate it. And we've seen this entire process happen in as little as 18 minutes after a post went live, which is amazing. Like, that's incredible. This doesn't happen on every note, but this is just blowing away past records of how fast you can get accurate information out there, which is really exciting. And on top of this service is growing. So this past year, in 2024, we had 95,000 notes that were seen about 30 billion times. It's a lot of people getting information. And that is more than double what we saw in 2023. We also have new people signing up around the world every day to join as contributors. The service is growing. And there's a lot of stuff that we are doing to continue to help the service scale and accelerate it even further. And for me, this is a real reason to be excited about the future. First of all, it shows that we can tackle really hard problems in a way that works. And second, while the world does seem divided, this actually shows that there's a lot more agreement between people than it might seem. And we can do amazing things when we find that kind of agreement. So you could think about what other things we could apply this technology to bring momentum behind things that most of the world wants to happen. So I hope you're excited too. Thank you, and look forward to taking questions at the end.